welcome to Learn Free Music Theory, lesson number 44. In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about changing time signatures and also syncopations. So let's get right into it. Hey guys! Alright, so the first part here is explaining time signature changes. Okay, so first up, why would you even want to change a time signature? Well, sometimes you have, you're writing a piece and it's got a certain feel, and then suddenly you want to put something really random in it that kind of almost sounds like it's not part of the piece, but it's leading on to another part, or it's making it lead into it, or it just gives them a different change. Or what you could even do is, say you have a duple time and it's like a march, like dun, 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 dun. Then you could have a like spiraling up thing with, it's rising up, like but it could be in compound, like 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then dun, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, dun, dun, just like that kind of thing. Yeah, I know my performance is a little bit lacking, but that's not the point though. Is you see how it changes the feel of the piece when you put in a different type of time signature. Now it doesn't just work with compound, because if you're used to hearing like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and now you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like that, just like we have here, completely changes the feeling of it again. So as you can see, time signature changes can be a pretty cool tool to have, actually. Whoops, I made that rhyme. That's not good. Cool tool. Yeah. Okay. Anyone that liked that joke, hit the like button on the video. If you're watching this on YouTube. Okay, now next up. Okay, so we have two different types of time signature changes. We have a regular time signature change and an irregular time signature change. Now, two examples would be the first example where I said it's going, you could have a march where it's like dun, 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 right? And you're going along, and then all of a sudden it's going to the next part and it's just like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then now you're going back to it, and then you just keep using that same thing. Right there, that's an irregular time signature change, because it's not like a set recurring pattern that you can predict, okay? So when you have an irregular time signature change, it's like you put it in when it suits it, or I guess you could even like do it at random if you wanted to, and it'd be considered irregular as well, I guess, because someone else looking at it would be like, oh, I guess the composer meant to do this. Anyway, but yeah, so irregular means there's no real set pattern to it. It's just however you can put it in as it suits you to change it, okay? So that's an irregular time signature change. A regular time signature change is actually a way to alter the two different rhythms. And just since we listened to our hybrid time signature, you probably also know that if I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, what is that? Oh, it's a duple hybrid time signature, right? Now, the thing is that you can have this constant change in time signature and not have to merge the two bars together. So it's a different way to do the same thing, okay? So it's basically doing the same thing, except that now you're doing it with a time signature change. So, based on how, there's little tiny effects why you'd want to do one over the other, okay? Like, ease of use, or also maybe you want to have a bigger bar so you can have something go on. I mean, really the choice is yours, but now at least you know that the two choices exist, right? I think there's not really one more preferred way to do it, I don't think, as far as I know. Then again, I'm not like a real intense composer in the hybrid time signature scene as well. I'm just trying to pass on what we're doing here. Okay, but anyway, so that's basically your two different time signature changes. Now, you can also, I actually forgot to write this in, but if you are starting a piece, so we've got 3, 4, just pretend like this doesn't exist, and this is the start of a piece. If we go 3, 4 plus 2, 4, we're not going to actually add them together and get another fraction, right? We're not going to get like 1/4, 1 and 1/4. We're not doing that. what it's actually doing in music is it's saying, okay, for the rest of the piece, instead of having to do this every bar, right? Because there's two ways you can write it. You could either write every bar and have a time signature literally on the sheet music, changing it, or you can do this at the start and say for the rest of the piece, the first bar is going to be 3/4, the second bar is going to be 2/4, and it's just going to go back and forth over and over and over again, okay? And so you can put that at the start to set a regular time signature change, okay? And so that's one way that you can notate it, and that's acceptable. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So that's as much that we're going to do on changing time signatures. Next is the syncopations. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to look at here is syncopations. So syncopation is basically what it is imagine you're expecting some sort of beat pattern like strong, weak, medium, weak, strong, weak, medium, weak, right? And so you're expecting the strong beat to be strong and the weak beat to be weak and so on and so forth. But then along comes a note and it's like, hey buddy, I'm not going to follow the program. I'm going to do my own thing. And it just comes in at an unexpected time or off beat. So it's like a strong note that draws attention to itself when it shouldn't be. It's sort of like, well, I'll show you some examples. These are the different tools or ways that we can use music and do different ways to actually get the same result. Although they are going to sound slightly different and they'll draw attention to themselves in different ways. But these are the basic principles. If you listen to, well, I'll just give you examples and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the top one here are, the first one we're going to look at for the first way to make a syncopation is an accent. So using accents, but not just wherever, but on the weak beats. So what if I go like this? 1, 2. Well, 1. So if you're going like this, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like that, that's a syncopation. Okay? Next, I think I got a little bit violent with my pen there. I was really trying to make that syncopation come out. But anyway. Okay, now another one is you can have strong ties come in before strong beats. Okay? So, way number 2 is you could have, say, like this. So you could be like going 1, 2. So 1, 2. 1, 2. So you hear that 1, 1, 2. Right there, that's a syncopation. If you play that harder, 1, so it's 1, 2. And then if you kept going, so see how it ties over now? So it's like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So see that? How it's getting out of track, sort of? Now, see, it doesn't mean it's always lighter, or sorry, heavier. Doesn't mean it's always heavier or louder. It could be that it's drawing attention to itself because of its rhythmic placement or the accent. It's just out of the ordinary, okay? In that sense. Okay, next up, rests on strongs, so strong beats. Okay, so imagine you're expecting something to happen, but then, oh, all of a sudden there's a rest. So it's like this, like 1, 2, 3, or sorry, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 1, 2. So now there's a little rest. So it draws attention when you hear this note. Now you hear this one, and that's the syncopated note. So when I was trying to do more than just those bars so you could get used to the feeling of feeling predictable. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that note right there, the last one, or the clap, or the pound on the whiteboard, is actually, that was the syncopated note. So that note that you're just hearing out of kind of context or whatever. Okay, so next up, long notes in between strongs. So if you have 2 short notes on either side and a long note on a weak beat, it sounds syncopated too. So if you go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See? So that's a syncopated because it shouldn't be drawing attention to itself and be long like that. And if those are rests, it's like a strong and a weak, a strong by itself, a weak combining with a medium, and then a weak by itself. So, yeah. It's definitely syncopated. And composers use these all the time to accent their music or give it like a sense of changing up or changing the mood. It's just another spice you can throw in the mix when you're composing. So these are all just lots of compositional ideas that you can do and play with, and then you're like, oh, what can I do to get this effect? And then you can dig through your information and go, oh, I know, I can do this. And then it'll give me that effect. Okay, and then the last one, and probably one of the more complicated ones, is it's combining several of these together and into something called a beat shift. So a beat shift is when you have your accent coming in off beat, and so it's basically coming in on the off beat right here. So, and you're going to be holding through the strong beat. So if you're going like this, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right, then you go like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so you're going to be holding and have an accent on the off beat. So where this gets really intense is when you actually have other instruments playing on beat. So they're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this instrument is doing the beat shift and it's going 1, 2, and it's coming in off every single time. I'm not sure if I have the ability to try to simulate two different instruments doing two different things without not on the fly at least. Anyway, I probably could if I just practiced a bit, but anyway. So beat shift, long notes in between strong notes. So in between strongs, but I should also write that you have to have short notes as well, because if you have a long note on, like say you had strong weak, medium weak, and you had a long note on the strong beat and then you had another long note on say like a weak beat, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But when you have the two shorts on either side, it really draws attention to that weak beat. Then rests on the strongs. So when you're expecting a strong beat to come, oh yeah, right, it's not there. And then you hear this weak beat, and that's syncopated. Ties before strongs. So you're muting the strong beat by making it take place on the weak beat. So it's coming in before. And then accents, on the strong beats. On the weak beats. So yeah, those are syncopations. So you can find them pretty much everywhere. I think they're basically everywhere in music. Like almost any place that you look, like any style of music, anywhere, you're going to find syncopations in them. And so you can start listening to some of your favorite songs and see if you can hear them. And you'll probably be surprised that you can probably find at least one in at least some of the songs that you listen to. So yeah, and then you can be like, oh, I can see a syncopation. So anyway, so now on to the homework. And one quick last thing before we do the homework actually, double dots. So double dots are, you've already seen single dot before. Double dots are actually just basically, well, I'll just explain it. You've got a regular note, whole note. That's worth 100% of its value, so that's 4 beats. So we have 4. Okay. Next one, if we add a dot, we have to go half of 4, because we're going to 50%. We're adding another 50% to it. So what's half of 4? 2. So that's 50% of 4. So add 2 to 4, now you get 6. So we already knew that much. Okay, now a double dot, think of the dot after it as affecting the rest of it. So it's going to half the effect, it's basically taking half the effectiveness of the first dot. So half of 50% is 25%. So now that 25% added makes it 175%. So whatever half of whatever you just added is now what you add to it. So if you added 2 here, okay, you add plus 2 to 6. No, so what's half of 2? 1. So plus 1 is 7. There you go. That's how you do double dots. And when you're doing with smaller notes, it gets quite interesting, because you start dealing in like small fractions, right? Just of like minute differences. But the way a double dot sounds between a regular dot is just a little, it's like a little bit longer of a hold. So you might be like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not really that much of a difference, it's just slightly longer. So you'll actually see double dots in pieces where they're using them in rhythms where it's a dot, like maybe a dot, like a double dot and then a 32nd note, or sorry, like normally you'd have like a dotted 8th note with a 16th note equaling the whole thing. So what they might do is now put a double dot, and now it's a double dotted 8th note with a 32nd note. So instead of going like dun, dun, now you're going like dun, 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 dun. So it's a quicker dun, or anticipation note. Okay, so that double dot actually shortens the length of the quick note. That's actually one of its general or main uses I always find. So anyway, so that is double dots. So now let's get to the homework for real. Homework. No. Alright guys, for your homework in this lesson, what I want you to do is write 4 time signature changes, basically 4 lines of, you can try different time signature changes, and 8 bars for each line. So you're basically going to write, what I'd like you to do is 2 of the regular and 2 of the irregular. Okay? So try doing 2 lines where you're using a regular time signature switch, and then make use of syncopations, and also, so maybe put in about 10, at least 10 syncopations for all your stuff, all your lines, and then also use at least 3 double dots in all of them. And so do 2 8 bars each. Okay, so you're going to be doing 4 times that, so it's 32 bars in total of writing. And then the other 2 lines, I want you to use basically an irregular rhythmic change, or not rhythmic, time signature change. So anyway, so that's what I'd like you to do there, and then we're good. So I hope you guys found that lesson pretty helpful and useful in some way. That's going to be it for the rhythm. In the next video, we're going to be switching gears. So I'll talk to you, or I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.